One time. Introducing my crew.
So crazy how we get down. Never thought it would be like.
Yo, what's up my fellow adventurers?
I'm a love machine and I'm ready to plough the field of ecstasy. Oh yeah.
Oh, behave.
This video is the third installment of Just a Thought, breaking down a thought I had and wanted to share with others regarding something myself and others may be passionate about, typically revolving around my channel's main focuses being video games and anime. This episode focusing on my Fable 4 wishlist. Generally all things I would or wouldn't want to see from the next installment in the series.
Yeah, baby.
It has been years since its last release.
Finally!
Fable 2 and 3 were great games, I enjoyed thoroughly.
Hey, that's pretty good.
But I especially hold Fable The Lost Chapters dear to my heart, as I played it first as a kid when I was around 10 years old on my OG Xbox.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect.
I still remember how my disc had one deep scratch in it that made it so once you got to the Bowerstone prison part of the game, it would automatically freeze.
They grabbed the archaeologist and took him up the hill there. I don't know what they're planning to do with him, but I bet it ain't gonna be pretty.
What the hell?
Hello, motherfucker.
Oh my god! Wow!
Ah, the good old days. But with that, there's plenty more reminiscing to be done. These are the larger segments as a whole I want to focus on, starting in, then moving our way out to broader aspects of the game as the list goes on. Segment 0 will be the character stuff, Segment 1 will be the gameplay, Segment 2 will be the world, and Segment 3 will be the story. I'll break each segment into 3 smaller subsections, those 3 being things I want to see again, things I don't want to see again, and things the series has never done that I'd like to see, within the main segments that are being focused on as a whole. These were also the points I focused on in my hopes for Persona 6 video. If you are a fan of the Persona series as well, maybe go check that out. But without further delay, let's get down to business.
I don't think you get the gravity of the situation here.
Death is not your destiny today, Sparrow.
I'm a dude. Dude.
Dude.
Pretty straightforward. I want to be able to choose a male or female player, character, not assuming that we wouldn't get to choose, but it just stood out to me that they had shown a female protagonist in the latest trailer, and I wouldn't put it past a modern game to try and
Freshen things up a bit.
by limiting the player's choice of who their hero or protagonist character could be.
Wow.
The works. Tattoos, haircuts, facial hair, etc.
Oh, no.
It being a modern game, there is no reason they can't go balls to the wall with
Tennis ball, throw it against the wall. Tennis ball, throw it against the wall.
customization options, possibly even have sliders.
Yeah,
If your mind went where I thought it would when I brought this point up,
boy. Stop it. Get some help.
but continuing with my point is that there isn't a reason a game after a decade plus since its last release and would be coming out in this modern age, I just don't see any reason it couldn't be doable.
Do it!
Horns and halos.
My shoulder angel.
Don't listen to that guy. He's trying to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm going to lead you down the path that rocks.
Yes, Satan?
Affinity-based physical traits. Fable TLC and Fable 2 had some great affinity or morality-based traits your character would gain based on their moral decisions and points into a certain affinity. Fable 2 even expanding on it more, having corruption and purity and evil and good as 2 separate bars to fill in either direction, truly making the possibilities of how your affinity would affect your appearance and character. But in Fable 3, at least from what I can remember, it was all just dumbed down to making your hair, eyes, and skin color either darker or lighter, and that was about it.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Was not a fan of it in 3, but if they bring back the way it worked in the first 2 games, that would be awesome in my opinion.
Wow.
Battle Scars.
Cut my life into pieces.
Scars gain like how in Fable 1 worked as far as I'm aware, where you would get scars if you chose not to wear armor on a certain body parts, or if you died and revived from a revival potion, I believe also would give you some minor scarring as well. Not gonna lie, I'd walk around with just a plate helmet set without the chest piece to get cool scars all over the chest and back. Talk about battle hardened.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really ridiculously good looking?
Yeah, boy.
It does leave the tattoos you get looking rough though.
Say goodbye, soon, though it's the end of the
String bean or butterball.
Get in my belly!
Height and weight based off of choices, like how you eat. At least in the first two Fables, I'm pretty sure you got taller if you went further into the skill and finesse tree, or if you ate a lot of bad foods, your character would put on some maybe unwanted calories.
That's quite big. Impressive.
And to go burn some of them off, you'd go run around and fight some monsters, bandits, and if you were that guy, possibly some innocent villagers. Die, MF, die.
Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die! Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die!
Daddy, chill.
Dyeing clothes and items different colors was awesome, and when added in Fable 2, as it made it so if you had a piece of gear that looked cool design-wise, but with an undesirable color palette, you could just change it to match your whole outfit, a small feature I can really appreciate. Mandatory glowing veins. I personally thought, at least in Fable 1, and I believe in Fable 2 as well, that the wheel markings could look cool.
Cannot see, I'm legally blind.
But just sucks a little if you go too far into any spells to mix together with other trees, like Assassin's Rush for a finesse-focused rogue build, or Berserker Rage/Charge for a strength-focused build, but still would end up having to rock the glowing blue marks on you. Not a huge deal, but something that if you could maybe choose the opacity for it, or how intense they are, that would be cool.
Nice.
Minor affinity traits. I wasn't a fan how in Fable 3, it only really changed your hair, eye, and skin color really.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
Put it simply, I want to look like a devil from pits of hell or an angel from the heavens while I court women, buy houses, and do other things that a person would typically do in a Fable game. And just gave the game and your player character those high fantasy vibes. Damn, I'm old.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
If the player character aged too quickly physically, like how it did at least in Fable TLC, not sure about the next two, but if you were someone like me who wanted to complete all the side content, as it's very doable in Fable TLC, then you would spend just a little too much of the in-game time and days, and by the time you're fighting Jack of Blades, you look like you belong in a nursing home. Supersize the customization options. Way more wearable stuff, slightly more hair, tattoo, and other body customization options. Maybe add stuff like...
Let him cook! Let him cook now! Let him cook! I said let him cook!
Like accessories like piercings, jewelry, backpacks or satchels, weapon holsters, titles, etc. I mean, the games have always had a pretty good selection, but I'd feel like it obviously could always just be slightly bigger.
That's what she said!
Good as new. At least in Fable 1, when you'd get a tattoo, as I stated before, it could start to look really rough if you begin to get scars over it, etc., which is understandable and realistic, but it would be nice if you could go back and get them at least touched up or redone so that they don't look totally unrecognizable from what they were when you got them. Small thing, but would be nice feature for a player to be able to choose whether they want to rock faded tattoos or not. Those are just clothes. Personally liked how in the first Fable, your armor and stuff actually had stats and things on it, not just being for appearance purposes. This point by itself could go in the gameplay section, but adding on to it so it fits in this category is I would be fine with there being clothes you can wear that give nothing, or essentially just your casual clothes, and then have an outfit that you can choose to use for combat specifically, as that's how I chose to play the first Fable game, giving me even more reason to switch between my outfits. Weapons of mass destruction.
What the fuck?
Not literally, but pretty close. One feature from Fable 3 I loved and have seen many others share the sentiment is the fact that the weapon system was adaptable. I.e., if you bought a sword and used it to kill a certain type of enemy, it would eventually gain boons or advantages towards that type of enemy, as well as change its physical appearance. So the same sword could have different hilts, blades, markings, and or particle effects on it based on how you used it. I do remember it was a bit restrictive with the weapons having predetermined boons you could choose to unlock by meeting the kill/combat criteria for that enhancement. So if they did do it again having adaptable weapons, it would be nice if the freedom of what weapons you grow and what way was left open to the player more freely. XP, baby. Bring back the iconic experience system from the first 2 games, or at least bring it back to some capacity. The fact that if you used your ranged weapons, it gave skill, yellow experience, and if you used your physical melee attacks, it would drop might, red experience points, and so forth. It was a really cool staple, I felt like, of the first 2 games, and would like to see something similar make a return.
For the love of God! Please!
As adding any level of customization or individualizing of a character based on their playstyle and actions taken is a dope concept I can never get enough of.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Phoebe, baby.
So smooth.
Damn, I'm good. Can you feel that?
Continue with how the series has always had a pretty good fluid combat system, being able to smoothly change from slash attacks to shooting a spell off and more. Probably something I don't need to wish for, as even Fable 3 had decent combat system in this, right? And I would expect with better tech and software the developers can continue this, if not improve it even more significantly. Glowing weapons. Couldn't come up with a more creative name for this point, but that aside, you might have been able to guess I am talking about augmentations. I believe all 3 games had the ability to put augments on your weapons, like enchantments from other RPGs and MMOs.
Someone cooked here.
I know for sure at least Fable 1 and 2 had them, but they were a fun way to make you look just as much more badass, but also give you the ability to customize how a weapon will benefit you, whether against a specific type of enemy, or that it may give you more money, more XP when using it, and so forth, was just a nice feature I hope to see again. Got your receipt?
What's this, you fucking piece of shit?
Statistics page from the older games where you essentially see all enemy types you've slain, times you've used different emotes, or the amount of times you've done a specific activity was a cool feature that I do hope they continue to have this small but satisfying feature. Really puts into perspective how much you've spent your time during your time playing the game, which I'm all for. Road to rule? More like road to drool.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, I know, a clever name, but I'm pretty sure I don't have to go too hard into detail on this, as it is one of the biggest grievances players had with Fable 3, was the experience system being turned into some weird battle pass road thing, with guild seals taking the place of XP points that you just spent on upgrades from these chests. It was tedious, especially if you ever had to backtrack in that thing, and really just took away from the beautiful thing that was Fable 1 and 2's great XP system. Just eat it. It was cool, but very exploitable how in the first 2 games with the different XP types, there was a variety of foods that they gave different XP types. Like how eating meat gave you might, red XP, or eating fish gave you will, blue XP, etc. And if you used the combo multiplier from combat and then proceeded to stuff your face with whatever food you had on hand that gave XP, it would multiply that said XP by ridiculous amounts, making it very possible to early on jump to near in-game skills and options if you could just cheese the combo meter and had the supply of food to do so. I do want the different XP types to come back, but would probably be for the best that this exploit isn't made available again. Beast Tamer. I loved how in the Fable 2 and Fable 3 games you had a dog. Your dog's appearance kinda changing with however your character's moral alignment was. Its fur becoming more black if you were more evil, and vice versa lighter when your character was more of a good affinity. Being able to give them a collar was cool, and at least I believe both games had some DLC where you could choose a couple of other breeds for your dog. But,
well, allow me to retort.
I don't know. Feels it could be expanded on past everyone gets the same dog, and that's it, I guess. Fable reminds me of the Fate game I played as a kid, and even that old, very minimalistic dungeon crawler, your companion could be at least a few different species. So maybe whether you just get a choice of what story-long pet you will have, the option to obtain more than one possibly, or the choice to change what creature your companion is. Could add an element where you could tame a companion of choice, or that just different species of companions could have different uses in combat utility. Examples being like a dog being good at tracking and finding treasures from further, whereas a feline would be good for a stealth character, also sneaking up on targets you are engaging like yourself. A bird or reptilian with talons could have special effects in combat like bleeds, and the list of how it would work are pretty endless, so I'll cut myself off there, but I imagine people get the point. I probably would still pick a dog or wolf companion most likely, but having the option to truly individualize your character, playthrough, and playstyle is always appreciated, especially for subsequent playthroughs. Why not both?
¿Por qué no los dos?
I imagine this will most likely be happening, as seeing from the trailer, the game is going back in time to its roots in a more of a medieval-ish fantasy setting. I imagine they will bring normal bows or longbows back, as they were cool in the first Fable game. But I personally would be cool if they didn't get rid of them, but instead maybe we could have guns and bows, as bows are considered older technology compared to a gun, but doesn't mean bows are just never used anymore or aren't practical, as even in our modern age, people use bows to hunt to this day, so I didn't see why they got rid of bows completely to begin with.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
The fuck?
Dual wielding.
No!
Don't hit the camera, man.
Dual wield!
At least from what I remember, I don't believe there was ever a possible way to dual wield or have weapons in both of your hands, and would be cool to see the most badass of fighting styles added, cause I mean, 2 swords are cooler than 1 obviously.
I don't know. I never counted. I am not really a math guy.
Hell, Zora from the anime One Piece is so cool he has 3 blades, so I don't think adding the ability to wield 1 in each hand is so much to ask for. Catch these hands.
Why did you throw me gloves? To catch these hands! Yeah, you should have stupid!
Adding on my last point of adding another fighting style, add a weapon type for brawling, like fist weapons or gauntlets, at least for me, is one of the coolest and most enjoyable in any other games I've played that have it as an option. Like how in every Fallout/Elder Scrolls game I've played, I always choose to use fist weapons or my unarmed skill in my first or original playthroughs of the many games, and would just be appreciated to see them add something like that, or just in general, really experiment with weapon types, adding stuff like spears, polearms, daggers, etc. Would just be nice instead of the simple 1 to 2-handed swords, axes, and hammers, or the 2 to 3 ranged weapon choices. It would be nice to see them try to add some more fighting styles and ways to equip your valiant hero or your dark overlord. This point was originally focused on fist weapons, but so I don't milk the idea of
Yeah, boy.
different weapon types they haven't tried as an individual points anymore, then these last 2. Are these pauldrons too big?
What do you think?
That looks so sexy.
Are you kidding? Hi, I'm Cellulite Sally. Look at my huge badonkey.
Alrighty then.
I did say I wasn't going to milk more weapon types for points to make here, but I haven't said anything about adding actual new slots of armor and equipment, i.e. making the shoulders, weapon holsters, sheaths, or really any other part of your character's equipment its own individual slot, so you can really get a custom outfit that isn't just part of some 4 to 5 piece set as you would expect all the gear to be. As Fable 1 did have a very small selection of armors, to be honest. Other than the light, dark, and neutral variants of the few different armors, there really wasn't very many. And if they took the point I made before and added back the feature where armor means something for combat, would make it even more dynamic for there to be even more slots. Crafting. Just some kind of crafting system, like being able to cook the fish you catch, or string your own bows, craft your own legendary weapons, etc. Just something the Fable games have had the foundation to have with the job system, sort of delving into that kind of stuff, but not really making it worth anything more than just the gold you can earn doing the said jobs. Nine to 5.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out.
This point could go into the world section or gameplay, but I decided to lump it into the world section as it has more to do with that. But I liked how in Fable 2 they added the job system where you could just earn some funds if you were low on cash, or just wanted to pass some time. I found them enjoyable. From what I remember, they were definitely not as enjoyable and kind of janky in Fable 3 comparatively. Plus it would be cool if maybe they added a type of skill system associated with this job, kind of like how they had star ranks before that led to a higher difficulty / larger payout when completing the tasks, but would be cool if they could possibly expand on the idea a bit more, maybe making them have more pros or things that possibly could be affected, possibly giving little buffs and boons, like being a master wood splitter could give you a small percentage boost in your overall physical damage with melee weapons, or being a smithy could give you a percentage endurance boost, or a slight resistance to a type of damage like fire damage because of being used to the hot temperatures of a blazing forge, and so forth. Blood and sand.
Are you not entertained? Want to see me get hurt? Will that cheer you up, son?
The arena from Fable TLC and Anniversary was peak side content, and it was pretty enjoyable in Fable 2's iteration of it. Fable 3 being where they kind of removed it from being a thing.
What are you doing?
But I for sure enjoyed the arenas and what they had to offer of just non-stop killing and action.
Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah! You don't scare me!
Different diverse cultures, just different groups spanning across whatever region this game is set in, that all show different types of cultures based on their ecosystems, access to resources, and diplomatic power as they did with the other games. Depending on the scale and how many towns and cities there may be, would depict how far they could really take this though. Change with the times. Really change how the world and its inhabitants are affected by the said player character's actions, like how in Fable 2 you could completely change how Old Town turned out to be based on a decision you made as a child, being whether you did all the little requests you do as a child to earn gold, leading to Old Town being a nice, thriving place, or if you were a delinquent and chose to make some morally questionable decisions, Old Town would be a rundown slum. I really like this, and also would just like the world in general to change over time, like things being built over in-game time, flowers or vegetation growing / hibernating during the different seasons possibly, and things of the like would be cool to see the world change as time passes in general. Open Sesame.
Open Sesame! Oh shit!
Demon Doors should definitely become a thing again. The side content / completionist like objectives of them were always fun. Whether they gave HP and MP upgrades, XP potions, legendary weapons, and or special gear is just an added bonus on top of it. And the fact that their requests were usually cool riddles to try and solve instead of not being outright stated the exact thing they want most of the time.
Emotional, damn it!
Always had a nice charm to it. Mandatory Sanctuary.
Another one. Another one.
I like the Sanctuary Hub feature of Fable 3, aside from being mandatory to use, as it was your pause screen / start button would instantly take you to this place. I want to see a cool wardrobe, armory place your dog can chill, and more, but definitely don't want it to be the only option for the pause screen, and would be fine if they stuck to a more traditional menu for the default way to view gear, items, etc., like in Fable 1. Children of Neverland.
My brother and I are English gentlemen. English gentlemen do not beg. Please!
I just didn't like how in the previous Fable games, if you chose to have a kid, your character could age decades and decades worth of time, but for some reason if you had a kid, those things were immortal or something, because they never age. And it would be cool to see your kids grow up and become part of the local ecosystem and develop on their own based on maybe different personalities or by whatever type of parent you are, and to their own character, who maybe gets a job in whatever town they are from, maybe buy a house or get married themselves. This section was slacking, as I personally don't look at the negatives nearly as much as the positives, so it could go in things they haven't done before by allowing kids to age at all, but to beef up this section, I'm sticking it here. Was it something I said?
Shall we shag now or shall we shag later?
You the scary one.
It's a cool aspect that the citizens of the region react to you based on your affinity, moral alignment, or how your character looks, which by itself is a fine idea. I just don't want it to turn into how I remember sometimes in Fable games, people in a town you have no current issue with, such as a bounty or being actively charged with some kind of crime. There would be plenty of times that citizens just randomly run and scream in fear. They are so scared with you.
Why are you running?
even with people sometimes you needed to interact with or were trying to speak to, leading you on a wild goose chase trying to catch this person who is just running and screaming in terror, which I would prefer not to have to do just because my character wears a few pieces of an assassin's armor set. Man, I always loved the face mask, always reminded me of this guy from the opening of the original game.
Fuck you!
Companions Guild. Yes, the name of this point is a Skyrim reference.
Please, Khajiit stole nothing. Khajiit is innocent of this crime.
Kind of piggybacking off the Beast Tamer idea with having more of a variety with your animal companions, I think it would be cool just to have possibly a partner you could add. Essentially like an NPC that can assist you with things. I know in Fable TLC and Fable Anniversary and possibly the other Fable games, you could hire a bodyguard or two that were hidden throughout the world. But I imagine if you could have a companion who is an individual who you can interact with more than just purchasing their services, asking them to be on their way, essentially just discontinuing their services, and that was it. But maybe the person you choose to marry,
Yeah, boy. NANI?
Wait a minute!
or one of your children if they grew up could become the Robin to your Batman. Kick an ass in the honor of thy family name.
Super! Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Blood and Sand Part 2. If they chose to bring back an arena feature amongst the game's side content, I don't know, it would be nice if they could add more onto it, such as being able to finish it, but still return for duels versus other heroes, just to earn some money or XP, or even possibly the first PvP feature the game series has ever seen, being able to possibly duel other players, or really anything else that keeps it as a relevant device or possibly resource throughout the game, instead of it being finished once, then essentially becoming irrelevant the rest of the game. Let me talk.
Let me talk! Let me talk! Let me talk!
Personally, I am fine with the silent protagonist who only grunts, the occasional single word, etc. But it would be nice if they added the ability to communicate a bit more in depth with people in the world and other characters. Not something I really need in the Fable series, but definitely something I wouldn't mind if developed a bit more than it has been previously. Family time. Another thing, they have always kind of been just very surface level activities available to you and the people you choose to make your family. Whether the person you marry or a child you may have had with said partner, it would be nice to be able to have more activities to do with your in-game families. Like going on dates with your spouse, taking your kid on a family field trip to some cool dark forest, play cards or mini games with them, or anything of the like would be nice to see them add, giving you just that little bit more attachment to the family you build and those who are supposed to be close to you. Alternate endings. Just different ways to conclude your character's story would be cool. In Fable 1, you could choose to put on or throw away Jack of Blades' masks, leading to two different ends. Fable 2, you choose whether you wanted to help others, your finances, or your loved ones, bringing back your dog, which I totally chose by the way. Sorry, villagers.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever.
I can't remember exactly how Fable 3 concluded, as I just kind of rushed through it, playing it nearly a decade or more ago. The Guild. I love the guild aspect from the first game, with other heroes from the guild who also would take requests to new trainees walking around, and just to have this cool academy that you train at was just really awesome. The Guildmaster was a true OG, and I know he could get on some people's nerves during combat.
Your health is low, your health is low, your health is low.
But other than that, I loved his role within the game and how he always looked over you. Overall, just the guild being a thing was a great aspect the first game had going for it that I would like to see return. I'm not the only one. Piggybacking off a previous point again,
You got me.
I loved how the guild had some other heroes in it, and how in Fable 2 there were other fabled heroes for the respective branches being skill, might, and will. Was just nice seeing in this big open fantasy world I'm not the only single hero of the land that is somehow able to maintain peace within it, or possibly maintain chaos if that's your cup of tea.
I am the danger.
All by myself as a single character. Whittle baby hero? Not literally being a baby, but it was cool to start off in Fable 1 and Fable 2 and to watch yourself grow up, especially in Fable 1, even having multiple segments of your growing up being the tutorial of the game, which was enjoyable. It just really gives you even more immersion and a bond with your said player character, watching them mold into an adult from a child. That was the final boss?
I asked the world for nothing but a family, and even that trivial request was too excessive. Such a cold world does not deserve its own existence. The new kingdom will have no place for fate or chaos or hate.
Oh, I thought he'd never shut up. Oh, I'm
Hi. Here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have. Patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
Anyone who's played Fable 2 will most likely agree with this sentiment. The final boss, Lucien, being essentially an in-game cutscene. You get to shoot him once, or someone else, aka Reaver, shoots him, taking the glory, satisfaction of avenging the people Lucien took from you.
No one can stop me.
Yeah, boy.
This being your sister, shooting you, and nearly killing you, and even your dog late in the game. I felt like John Wick, but if he got cucked out of murdering the person who took away his four-legged best friend.
I'm sorry.
And it really killed all the tension and nearly felt like the climax didn't slowly come down from finishing the big bad, but just swan dived off a cliff, plummeting at speeds that were completely uncalled for. I understand that Fable is known for its humor, and I would be fine with this happening really for any other boss, or during some side content. But to have the final boss, Lucien, in Fable 2's story conclusion to play out like that was really one of the biggest letdowns of an otherwise phenomenal game that was Fable 2. It's over. But it's not. I personally liked how in the Fable 2 and Fable 3, even after you defeated the big bad, you can continue to explore the world, but in Fable 1, as far as I'm aware, the credits rolled from there, and your character was just stuck in its last save point before defeating the final boss. So you couldn't continue with the same character for just fun or post-game content once you finished the story. I believe in Fable Anniversary might have fixed this, as I can't remember whether it's a bit of DLC was post-game or just available during your initial playthrough of it. Either way, I just want to be able to continue to have access to a character after the game is over if possible.
It's all ogre now.
That escalated quickly.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Don't become a king/nation ruler by the end of the game. I much preferred the more humble fantasy roots of just becoming a renowned hero instead of becoming the literal king. As I'm pretty sure this reboot seems it's going back to the roots of the first game a bit, it would be nice if this was one of the things they kept from the first game moving into this reboot of the series. Alternate endings. Extended. Possibly give some true different endings, where the world, all the people in it, your character, and other aspects of your playthrough will be individualized through your decisions throughout the story, truly giving different dynamic decisions and making sure they carry actual weight or consequences long term for whatever choice you make. Examples being like you decide to go against a certain faction, and from then on out throughout the game you will be attacked by said faction, or they will become hostile towards you, possibly even opening up more ways to interact with the world and its people. They could even add the ability to mend relationships with a faction or vice versa. A definitely broad idea, but I don't think anyone would be mad to see more dynamics such as these. Alternate routes. More piggybacking on previous points is that I would enjoy not just the ending being able to have different outcomes or ways that things would play out, but make it so periodically throughout the story your choices can really impact the different ways things go. For example, if in Fable 2, say one of the heroes you're supposed to recruit like Reaver, you chose to kill instead of recruit him. Altering how the game would play out immediately after, and at least because I chose Reaver as an example, the ending would obviously have to be impacted by that decision as well, but still at least makes sense for what I'm trying to explain either way. It just would be appreciated for a little spiciness throughout an individual player's playthrough. Now to wrap things up, I appreciate anyone who watched, and I hope you enjoyed. Fable is a series very dear to me that I really want to continue seeing from, even if not handled by Lionhead Studios, RIP, which if anything might be for the best. I want to see the series make a comeback. Like all the other Microsoft exclusives that have had plenty of love, Fable feels like it has been left in the attic to collect dust, which is a sad fate the Fable series definitely isn't deserving of. If you have any takes of your own or want to respond to any of the ones I made, drop a comment sharing your opinions. I'm all for discussing things with my supporters and acknowledge all comments. These videos take a lot of time and love, and any help to continue growing the channel and my content's reach is beyond appreciated. If you enjoyed,
Are you just gonna stand there like a lemon?
go on and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and possibly clap that little bell button so you won't miss any of my diverse and consistent uploads. Now bidding farewell, take care my friends, and stay cool.
Thank you.